to 9-21. This is more complete. 9-21, no? 9-21. At least we have all the requirements here. So will you refer now to problem 21, 9-21. Okay? Hindi na ta mag 12 kag 13, 21 na lang. So at least you will have a complete set of requirements. For 921, scorecard measures, strategy, translation. You are now given the 20x1 and the 20x3 data. At the end of 20x1, company implemented a low-cost strategy to improve its competitive position. Its objective was to become the low-cost producer in its industry. A balanced scorecard was developed to guide the company toward this objective. To lower costs, Medujar undertook a number of improvement activities such as JIT production, total quality management, and activity-based management. Now, after 2 years of operation, the president of Medujar wants some assessment of the achievements. To help provide the assessment, the following information on one product has been targeted. So you are now given your theoretical uh, annual capacity, amount that could be produced given the available production hours. Everything produced is sold. Then actual production, amount that was produced given the available production hours. We have market size in units, production hours, 40 workers, very satisfied customers, actual cost per unit, days of inventory, number of defective units, total worker suggestions, hours of training, selling price per unit, and number of new customers. So we have now to compute the following measures for 20x1 and x3 from letter A up to letter K. That's for requirements in number 1. Actual velocity and cycle time. So in number 1, we have the actual velocity. 208,000 divided by 104,000, we have 2 hours. So 60 divided by 2 is 30 minutes. So we are now given 208. That's the actual production. Kaya ginapangayo, actual velocity. So the actual production of 208,000 divided by 104. Okay, 104,000. So we now get the production hours. So you get 2 hours and 60 divided by 2, that 2 per hour. 2 per hour. Considering that the actual production is in number of units and then we have the production hours. So meaning units divided by hours. So meaning 2 units per hour. 60 per hour divided by 2. So meaning each unit requires 30 minutes. In 20x3, we are now dividing 1.3. Here, we are dividing 234,000 again by the production hours available of 104. So that gives the result of 2.25 per hour. So we divide 60 by 2.25, we need 26.67 minutes. So a reduction in number of minutes. Now in letter B, we have to determine percentage of total revenue from new customer. Assume 1 unit per customer. So we now divide 5,200, that's the number of new customers, divided by 208,000, the actual production. So meaning is 0.025. Then in 20x3, we are now dividing 26,000 the new customers by 234,000 the actual production. So you get 0.11 instead of 0.25. Now, again, take note that letter C, requirement percentage of very satisfied customers. Assume each customer purchases 1 unit. So, the computation in letter C, we have 83, 200 very satisfied customers. We divide by 208,000 and 140,000 divided by 234,000. So you get an increase in the percentage of very satisfied customers. Letter D, how about the market share? We now divide 208,000. That's your actual production divided by 1.3. That's the market size. So the market share in 20x1 is 16%, but it increased to 18% in 20x3. Now letter E and F are not applicable to here our 20x1 computations, but in 20x3 we now have the rate of 260, the actual cost per unit, minus 325, the actual cost per unit this year. So we now get 260 minus 325 divided by 325. So you now get the rate of 20%. Not applicable to letter E and to letter F. In letter F, computing for the requirement percentage change in days of inventory for 20x3. So in letter F again, we have 7.8 given minus 15.6 over 15.6. So that will give you 50%. Then in numbers, in letter G, defective units as a percentage of total units produced. So defective units in 20 X1, we have the total of 13,000. Now you are given the total number of defective units divided by the total number of units. In 20x3, you have 5,200 units divided by 208,000. So take note, it's 62.5%. Letter H, total training hours given is 260 and 1,040. Then letter I, suggestions per production worker. So suggestions, as total number of suggestions, 104 divided by 40. And the second column, we have 312 suggestions divided by 40. Here in the case of letter I. Okay, now we have letter J. Question is total revenue. We now have 40 million 560,000, and column 2, 45,630,000. Now for the last requirement, number of new customers. So for the new customers, you are given 5,226,000. Requirement 2, for the measures listed in requirement 1, list likely strategic objectives classified according to the 4 balanced scorecard perspectives. Assume that there is only one measure per objective. So we have now the strategy is testable because each if-then sequence is essentially a hypothesis about the relationship between the lead and the lag variables. If the lead variables achieve their planned levels, then the lag variable should at least produce the expected outcomes. If not, the strategy as envisioned may not be viable and adjustments will need to be made. Okay, so let's end our discussions here. So, meaning you have to include this chapter in your studies. Okay?